Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we have a dryer that is making a loud screeching noise, driving the customer crazy, and I'm going to show you what's causing it.
That's a squeaky.
Well, as you could hear, that was pretty bad. That screeching, squealing noise was just about as bad as it gets with these dryers. And yeah, if yours sounds anything like that, then this video should apply to it, or at least kind of point you in the right direction of what it most likely is. So first thing you're going to want to do is turn the power off or unplug it, flip the breaker. Then you're going to want to take this bottom panel off. There's about 4 1/4 bit screws you're going to want to take out. I know, I accidentally missed that one. Some of these only have 3 screws, some of them have 4. Depends on the year, depends on the model. So yeah, you take that bottom panel off, you start from the bottom, pulling the bottom towards you, then you angle it and pull it down and away. I'm just doing a quick visual inspection in there. I'm looking at the idler pulley, I'm looking to see how much lint is in there, just to see if there's anything obvious or unexpected. So I already went into this job knowing what it was going to be from experience. So what I just did there is I turned it off, flipped the breaker because the power cord wasn't easy to get to on this one. Now I'm going ahead and taking off the lid. There's 3 screws in the back of this one, 2 or 3, again depending on the model. There's definitely 1 in each corner. Sometimes there's 1 in the middle as well. I like to use this little right angle to help me get in there. This one's a DeWalt brand, but there's Harbor Freight, there's all kinds of different ones. To get the lid off, you just push down and push back on it, and then it slides back, and then you can lift it up and away. This specific one is slightly tricky compared to some of the other ones because you have to remove this support sheet metal and the board, kind of lift it up, move it to the side. Essentially what I'm doing now is I'm gonna have to unplug the door switch, I'm gonna have to unplug the control, I like the user interface, and I think the drum light as well. So I'm just looking for my little pick tool. Where is it? Yep, there it is. So I like to use these little pick tools when I take these kinds of connectors off. I just kind of wedge it in the side and pry it, and then it slips right out. So there's 2 more connectors I have to take off of this board. And this one's a little bit tricky because you kind of, a lot of these appliances, especially this one, you kind of have to unscrew some things and then wiggle some things and shimmy it around. On this specific dryer, you're going to see in a minute, it's just a little bit more involved than some of the other dryers. And you do want to be gentle with these connectors. You don't want to just manhandle them because they can break. And that's the worst, when you're there to fix one thing and then you accidentally break something else, and then now you need something else to repair it. See, that one's giving me a little bit of trouble, but I end up getting it. It's just a matter of finding the right angle, getting the right leverage on it. So now you're going to see the kind of tricky part I was talking about. This specific dryer, it's got this this trim that goes around. It just pops right in and pops right out, so it's not too bad, but yeah, it's definitely interesting, that's for sure. I don't really see that on a whole lot of appliances, but hey, at this point in time, that was what they decided to do. So the whole control panel slides up and off, and that trim comes with it as well. I'm just going to lay that down. I told the customer, hey, this whole area is going to be off limits. When I disassemble this thing, it's going to be kind of spread out. Next, what you're going to want to do is unscrew these 4 screws. At least the bottom 2 have to come out. The top 2 I think can stay in. We'll see in a minute here. Yep, just put a little extension on there. Oh yeah, there's also a screw down there on the blower housing. There's another one. And then you have that connector there. So essentially what that is that's for the moisture detector. So when you put your dryer on auto dry, your clothes rub against this sensor, which tells the computer how moist they are. You would be surprised how many times I've left that thing unplugged, at least back when I was first starting out doing this. And then the customer would call me back saying, hey, yeah, the dryer's working, but the auto dry only runs for 5 minutes and then it shuts off. And it's like, oh, okay, well the computer thinks the clothes are dry. So yeah, essentially with that, you just pull up. Once you have all the screws out, you just pull up on the whole thing and then kind of angle it towards you and pull it out. The drum lip, there's a lip on the drum that sits on some rollers, which can be a little tricky to get off, but not too bad. This is kind of one of the tricky parts I was talking about. So essentially you have to kind of support that thing, like where the metal sheet is that's holding the control board. You kind of have to support that while you're taking the drum out. So what I'm doing right now is I'm taking the belt off of the idler pulley and off of the motor, so that way I can take the drum out. Yeah, it's good to lift up the belt to pull the slack out and then pull the drum out. Alright, well now we can get a good look. So I'm spinning the rollers, touching the idler pulley right now. You can't see it too well, but it's actually pretty worn out, which means it's been seized and the belt's been rubbing it. So usually what I do with these is I like to do a full service with these dryers, right? I like to clean and lube all the rollers. I like to replace the idler pulley. I give the customer options. So I told her, I said, hey, I could clean and lube the idler pulley and that would definitely quiet it today, but it's not really a long-term solution. So it could last for days, it could last for months, possibly even years. However, typically in my experience, just cleaning it and lubing it will only last for a few months. So I said, hey, I recommend we change the idler pulley, that way you shouldn't have to worry about it for years. And the rollers are a bit different. The rollers seem to be a lot more forgiving when it comes to cleaning and lubing. The idler pulley seems to have a lot more wear on it, just because it's under constant tension with that belt and it's moving the actual drum. The rollers are just there to help support the weight, whereas the idler pulley actually has tension on it. Wow, did you guys just see that massive handful I pulled out of there? Yeah, and here's another one. Look at that. So all of that was right under the lint filter, the one that you pull out and clean after every load. At least you're supposed to after every load. That's what I tell people, and that's best practice, is to clean it. So yeah, I just vacuumed out the whole dryer, and now I'm about to service the rollers. I went ahead and sped up this part just to kind of shorten the video. If you guys are interested in a slower video, then I actually uploaded a non-voiceover, longer length video of this. It's about twice as long, and there's no voiceover, so it's more of kind of like a uncut, unfiltered, I almost want to say ASMR, because I'm not speaking at all. I'm just doing the work and you're just hearing the noise of the work. So yeah, if you guys are interested in that, check out the channel, or I'll link it below in the description. But yeah, pretty much with these rollers, they have these plastic triangle clips on them, which I use the angled pick tool out of the pick tool set, which I just get from Harbor Freight. I actually like them because they're smaller than a lot of other pick tools you can buy. Like the more expensive ones, they're a lot bigger. I like to go ahead and clean the inside of the roller, as well as the bushing post, and then I'm lubing it up with some zoom spout oil. I find that zoom spout oil works pretty good for rollers. And now is the main event of the video. I'm replacing the idler pulley, which was causing that squeak. It's got a bolt or a screw here that's a 10 millimeter. So you could either get a socket set, or like me, I have a little driver bit. It has a spring that connects the idler pulley, so you got to kind of remember how it came off or how to put it back on, or pause and play this video to see. I know for me it was a little bit tricky to remember how to put that on. At least I know with some other dryers like LG, for example, they're a little bit trickier. So yeah, you just go ahead and you hook it on the motor mount, you hook it on the idler pulley, and then you want to go ahead and screw that screw back in. And what I do, you see there, I kind of pushed it away so it went into the groove, because this screw, it actually has like a built-in washer spacer thing on it, and the idler pulley sits on that, so you just kind of have to line it up and then screw it in, make sure it's centered right. And I went back to fast forwarding the video so that way you guys didn't have to just sit through me cleaning in slow motion, or real time I should say. Now I'm servicing the front rollers. Like I said, I didn't have to do these rollers, but I like to fix right. If you guys got that, let me know down below in the comments. But yeah, I like to fix right. I like to do things right the first time, and I like to do a full service on dryers when I work on them. So basically what I'm doing is just like the other ones, I'm cleaning the bushing posts, and I'm cleaning the inside of the bushings, inspecting them as well, and then I'm going to lube them up. And just be gentle with those plastic clips, because those triangle plastic clips, some of them are very brittle, some of them do break. You kind of have to be a little bit gentle with them, because yeah, I've had a lot of them break, and that is, I'd say that's one of the only downsides about servicing the rollers when they're not broken, is because you can break a clip, and if you're not like me, you don't have extras, then that could just be a full pain. So that's a little tip for y'all at home if you're doing this yourself, that you might want to pick up a couple extra of those clips online, or make sure that they come with a kit or replacement rollers or whatever you're doing. So yeah, everything now is cleaned up nice and good. I'm gonna go ahead and put the drum back in. You want to go ahead and put the drum in and angle it a little bit so that it seats back on the rollers, because there's a groove. You want to have it sit on those rollers in the back. At this point, I know my head's inside of the drum, but I'm putting my arms back there. I'm pulling the idler pulley up and to the side. I'm wrapping the belt around the motor and then around the idler pulley, which I have another video on my channel where I actually take the camera, I put it inside of the dryer and get a point of view so you guys can see better what I'm doing. I didn't think to do that on this one because this woman said she had a meeting, so I wanted to respect her time and get this job done as soon as possible. Yeah, and don't forget to connect that connector you just saw me connect. That is the auto dry sensing connector, and if you don't connect that, every setting except time dry will not run for very long. It'll only run for about 5 minutes and then it'll shut off because it won't sense any wetness. It'll think that the clothes are dry. So just screw in all those screws, essentially the same reverse order that you put it back in, or that you took it out in, you're going to put it back in. Feel free to slow it down. Luckily YouTube has the option to actually slow down video now to half speed, which would be normal speed in this case. Yeah, you can see there this little metal clip actually broke off of the trim. That happens, you know, just like cars or just like anything. The older something gets, the more likely it is things are going to break as you pop them apart and pop them back together. In this specific door, it's got two latches, one on the top, one on the bottom. That's why you kind of saw me touch the top and the bottom there. And if you have this dryer, I'm sure you know about it already. Yep, just go ahead and line everything up. Make sure you get all the screws in. As you can see, I'm wearing gloves now. Safety first. You want to make sure you connect that door switch connector too, because if you don't, you'll get this thing back running and it won't start because the door thinks it's open. So make sure you connect that door switch, connect all those ones. You can see there I roll it by hand just to make sure everything's good, because every once in a while there's a hiccup. Something happens you don't exactly want to happen. You just put the lid on, slide it back on. I'm just kind of tidying up a little bit here. Comment down below if you guys have ever lost any tools, or if you're a service technician or mechanic and stuff like that, you're mobile, if you've left any tools, because I've left some things at people's houses, and now I'm very meticulous with my stuff, where I try to put it away, take it out, put it away. Yeah, so with this bottom panel, sometimes it can be tricky to put back on. You essentially have to put the top in first. You angle it, slide it up, and then you push the bottom in. And you can see I used my little telescoping magnet there. I dropped a screw. Get all these screws in, and then we're pretty much done. I'm gonna go ahead and flip the breaker, turn it on. Yeah, listen to that. Much quieter. Yeah, this lady was super happy. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Have a great day.